Hey everyone, I'm here with Cruz. We are going to talk again about how to use AI on your company to automate your processes. And today we are going to talk about the support or ticket management for your company. So the idea here is that you can have an automatic reply, maybe a draft for an email. You will be able to also send an email and manage all your ticket inside Jestor using the chat part that's integrated with our own email tool. We also will show you these metrics for support. And the idea here is help all our users to use AI, but also to automate all this process with different automations and combine this to have the best result as possible for your ticket management or support process in your company. And especially here, we are going to focus on this uh, first response, or at least to be as fast as possible to help your customer in this as soon as they send an email or they send a ticket or they send a problem for your team to solve. So, Cruz, if you can tell us a little bit more about this solution, what kind of problems can we solve? And how can our clients use this to streamline their processes?
Cool. So the idea here is to have a tool in which you can receive tickets by email. It could be a different source for the tickets. It could be instead of email, you could have like a public form in your website or in your social media or something like that. But for this template, we're focusing on email because it's the most common to use in these scenarios. So the idea here is that your customer is going to send you an email to a dedicated email for support tickets, and this is going to open a ticket as a Kanban card automatically, and a few things are going to happen simultaneously and automatically. So I'm going to show you guys this happening in real time, but the idea here is that one, the ticket is going to be automatically categorized. So if it's finance, it's going to be tagged as finance. If it's sales, it's going to be tagged as sales, and so on. So you can see that we actually have some color coding here. So green cards are finance and billing. So if I open, you can see that it's tagged as finance and billing. So it's going to be sorted automatically. The second thing that's going to happen is that the AI is going to provide you with a first draft of what it imagines is the proper response for that ticket. And this is very important because at least getting that first answer out there is very important as soon as possible, so your customer can feel that you're giving the best support that you can. So it's very different answering an email like within 5 minutes of the customer sending the email and like 1 day later and so on. So at least getting that first answer out there is going to be crucial for good customer support. And the idea is to use AI to provide you with a first draft that's going to be like, it's going to have proper grammar, it's going to have a nice sentence structure, and you can even tweak the AI a little bit to give you more heartfelt messages, or if you want some more dry corporate tone, you can actually change that as well. And the other thing that's happening here, which is my favorite part of the template actually, is that you can actually have a customer database. So you can have all the names of your customers and their roles and additional information. And as soon as they send an email, the platform is going to see if that email is already in your database. So if I open a ticket with my email, if my email is already on the database, it's going to assign that ticket to me as a customer. So you can see here, Andrew, Diane, John, they're customers, and the platform automatically assigned, connected those tickets to that respective customer. And this is going to have some interesting implications that I'm going to talk later on. But if that customer never sent you an email, if you don't have them in your database, it's going to register that email in the database, and then you can later fill with more information. But as soon as they send the second ticket, it's going to be grouped together into that customer. So it's very important. It makes things way more organized than if you were just like having a text of email. It's going to make things a little bit harder to work with.
This one is
So
it's really useful, especially even for us, because we use this every day as well, this automation. And in the past, we would sometimes we would go there and select the customer that sent the support ticket, and sometimes we just didn't do this. So that was a real pain for us in the past, because sometimes you don't really know that the person is from a specific customer, or maybe you just forgot to do this. Uh, However, now that it's automatic, 100% of our tickets, we know uh, the client or even characteristics about that client that helps us to just accelerate the response, or even try to qualify the ticket in a better way, because we know who is sending or what kind of problem they are actually facing there.
exactly. So I'm going to show you guys in action, then I'm going to explain a little bit about what's happening in this dashboard specifically. Then I'm going to talk about how it's doing everything that it's doing, right? So what I'm going to do now is send an email to this template's dedicated email. So basically, I'm going to send an email here. You guys are not going to be able to see it. It's on the other screen. But I'm basically going to ask for help and say that I've been charged 2 times. So I paid twice and I want to be refunded. So this is the scenario. So I just sent the email. So it can take a little while for the card to appear here because it's not immediate. It may take a minute or two. Already happened. So there you go. It has so the card is here, and you can see that at first it appeared as white and now it's green because the AI automatically detected that this was a support ticket regarding finance and billing, so it automatically assigned to its category. So you can see that I sent the email, it went straight to the first column here in the Kanban board. It was marked as finance and billing. And you can see here the email from which I sent the message, the subject of the email, and the message that the customer sent. So I've been charged 2 times. Can you guys issue a refund? And like I said, here down below, I have a draft for a answer, so I can already answer my client. How do I answer my client? You guys can see that up here on the toolbar of the card. I have this part for emails. So if I click on it, I can see this as a chat. So this is the message that the customer sent me. So I can just copy and paste and send this to our customer. And also one thing that we could do is instead of having this as a text here, we could just send the message automatically. You could do that. The reason we don't do that is because you should never be 100% trusting of AI. 90%, 99% of the time, it's going to give a satisfactory result. But sometimes it may say something that you're not entirely sure if it's correct, or the tone is a little bit off. So you may want to correct it. So maybe I don't want this paragraph. So I can just come
Or
here.
if you're going to do this automatically, maybe label that it was automatically generated, because then at
Exactly.
least someone knows that it could not be as precise as a person responding. Or the thing is, maybe it's as precise or even more precise, but the problem is uh, it's not as responsible as a person, because in a way it's harder to blame a robot than a person if something wrong happens. So it's a way for you to just have at least, because most of the time the answers will be really good, even good enough for closing the ticket. So, but it would be interesting to at least let your client know that it's 100% AI response, at least this first response, not all responses, but the first one.
Exactly. So I'm going to show you guys my email here. And you guys can see that I sent the message to the support team. And because I've answered here in this chat section, which is actually an email section, the answer that I sent to them was sent as an email. So you can use this as an email client actually for your tickets, right? So you can see that I sent the message. The first response, the first answer, a draft was automatically created by the AI. Maybe I try to correct it a little bit. Maybe I rewrite some stuff. Maybe I don't use all of the draft. But then I can just copy and paste it, change it accordingly, and answer as soon as possible. And you guys can see that I've answered within the minute, right? So this is a very good tool. So you can actually kind of like gain some time because the client's going to send you an email and then you answer within 5 minutes, and then they're probably going to take a little bit longer to answer your answers, so you have some time to think about it a little bit more, get a more precise, a more thought out answer. But at least the first message is out there, and you're already providing the support to them, right? So this is what the template does. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about how it works, right? So let me close this ticket. So at first we have this dashboard, right? Which is a very simple dashboard, actually, just three components, but they're really interesting here. The first one that I want to talk about is the Kanban board. So a lot of people like to use Kanban boards for support tickets, for projects, or things like that. It's a good way to see the things that you're already working on. So you can see that I have here new ticket, you have in progress, done, so you know what's happening with each request. So basically, what I have here that it's kind of cool is that it's color coded, right? So if it's finance, it's colored green. If it's support, it's blue. If it's sales, is red. So this is going to be done automatically. And I can activate builder mode and show you guys how this was set up. So
One thing
basically,
that's pretty interesting that you could also do in this solution is you could have one Kanban with all tickets. So maybe you are a support manager or something like this. However, you could also at the same time have three different Kanbans. Same information, but three different Kanbans on different places on your solution. And for example, if you are from sales, you only want to see tickets from sales or tickets from finance or product or whatever. So you could have a Kanban just for you and one Kanban with everything, because maybe it's a dual responsibility where you have the team and the support team responsible for that ticket. So that's also a way to do this. And you could have all of them. So this one is the main one with the main dashboard. And then on the left, for example, you could have other app pages with only sales, only finance, only X, and so on. Or only urgent, or I don't know. It depends on your volume and how granular you want to do, or how granular you want to go. Maybe you only have a few people in your company, so you want a combo for each person. It could also be a way to do this, or one Kanban for each client. Because if you have a really long project with a specific client, you could use your client as a variable to just filter for that specific client for your own control of the or management of the product project. But also, it's possible to do this filter through permissioning. And if you do this through permissioning, and it would be possible for you to share as a portal to your client. to access their own tickets, maybe comment on them. Maybe they can also update information on the ticket, or if you, it depends on your end solution, but or it could also just to be like to see the status of everything, so you don't need to every time have a meeting and so on. So this is one way to do this. Is really interesting, and we do the same this way as well. But if you want, you could just have like separate Kanbans for the same problem. So you are not stuck with one Kanban for everything, and then you have to have like 80 different stages. That's not necessary. You could have as many stages as you want as well, but usually it's not as practical as having multiple Kanbans, because you can focus on your work and get things done more easily, in my opinion.
Exactly. So just to show you guys some of the configurations for this component, we have conditional colors. So you can see here that I'm telling the Kanban board to paint a card red, light red if the category is sales, and blue if it's support, and green if it's finance, and so on. I have some cosmetic settings here, so you guys can see that I can hide or show the labels for the fields of information. And one cool thing that I'm doing here, we can also like change the card size and so on. So maybe you want a little bit thinner. But one other thing that we're doing here that's really cool is that I'm sorting the Kanban board by the field prioritize. So if I open the Kanban board here, so you can see that this is start, the other ones aren't. So if I open this one, I can pay my invoice, I can prioritize it. There's a field here. And if I click on save, it shot up, right? So all the prioritized cards are going to the top of the Kanban board. Other things that we have here is we have a daily chart for the tickets, and you're going to have 3 bars per day showing how many support tickets you have, how many finance tickets you have, and how many sales tickets you have. So you can see that this is automatically counting these ones. And the other one that I really like is the customers table. This is a list of customers. You can see that it has the name of the customer, it has the email of the customer, but it also has the amount of open tickets for that customer. So maybe like the sales team brings up that John said that the support team is not working fast enough. He has a lot of support tickets going on. So you can just come here to the search and type in John, and it's going to show the Kanban board is filtered, but also in the customer list, I can uncollapse the information and see all the open tickets for that customer. So I can just look at it and say, well, but John only has one support ticket going on, right? So maybe it's not as valid as a criticism, or maybe it's a different John, I don't know. So you can search for it. You have the data in your hands. And for the last part, for this dashboard, before we get into the automations themselves, we have filters for customers. So maybe, like I said, I don't want to type in the search. Maybe I want to select a specific customer. I can do it. I want only to see finance tickets. I can click on it, and it's going to filter all the information here. Or maybe the agent that is working on that ticket. You can see here that this one has myself here. I've assigned it to myself. So I could just click here on agent and filter the information by agent as well. And finally, you can select an interval of when the ticket was created. So you can see all tickets created last week, for example, and it's going to filter. I'm not going to filter right now because all of these tickets were created today. Okay, so for the structure and the automations, first of all, I'm going to talk about the customer database. The customer database is a very simple table. It's a table for, like the name says, the customers. So we have a name for the customer, we have an email, phone number, role, additional information that maybe doesn't fit in the other fields, and a roll-up field, which basically counts all of the open tickets. I'm going to talk about this a little later on. But if I open the ticket, you can see here that I have a custom form for it. So up top, I have the name and the role of the person. And then we have all of the information. I could maybe write something and save. And you can see that right here we have an instruction. So keep in mind that the email field will be used for automatic sync with tickets. So like I said before, whenever you receive a new ticket, it's going to use this field. So it looks up the customer. Okay. And for the open tickets, I'm going to activate builder mode, and I'm going to edit this field. It's a roll up. So basically it's going to count or sum up records in another database. So it's basically counting the records in the support database, which I'm going to show you guys a little later on. It's going to go to that table and check every card that is connected to that customer. So to John, to Diane, to Andrew, for example. And then it's going to perform, execute some kind of formula. In this case, it's going to count the number of records. It could also like sum the amount of sales or something like that. And there's a filter here. It's only going to count tickets where the stage is new ticket or in progress. I don't want to see closed tickets here, right? Okay, so this is a very simple database, and now we have the support
And
database.
one thing that's really interesting is client is, or the customer database is one of the most important ones. And as you build your system, or as you build your collection of apps for your company, um, the customer database will be present on most processes. The other table that's really important is the employee database. Usually it's also present on lots of different processes, but the customer database is a really special one. And it's important that if you have lots of apps, you keep one customer database. Otherwise it can get really messy, and it doesn't need to be as really complicated. It can be as simple as Fernando just showed. uh, but it's interesting because you can visualize everything that's connected to a specific customer. In this example, we are going to show tickets, but maybe if you want to have a broader view, maybe for the sales tickets, you want to see the ticket and all the opportunities, because maybe you have like two really big opportunities with this client, and they are asking something that's not expected for the support, but maybe you are going to help them anyway because you have a really special deal going on your pipeline. So that's why it's really important to have all this connected information instead of just a huge Kanban with everything. It's because you can have this 360 view of your client or the situation that you are just solving. And you can see past tickets that were solved. Maybe you could connect with feedback, because one thing that you could add on this process is, and we could do a template for this maybe next week as an example, is once your ticket is closed, you could automatically send an email to your client saying like, oh, regarding the ticket 344, how was it? Was it good? Was it bad? Do you recommend the company or support to anyone? Or I don't know, you can have as many questions as you want. And that would be connected with your customer. Could be a form, or could be just response to that email and so on. So that's a really important part of this ticket process, because then you can understand if someone is doing a good job or not. Um, but it's also important to have this 360 view of the client. You it's especially important to sometimes to help a client that's already really pissed with the last response. So maybe try to fix what you did on the last time. Um, But if you only see ticket by ticket, then you don't know. Like maybe you're going to just make a problem worse because you just made the same mistake again. So that's why the database part is really important for your process. For some people that don't know, don't understand what a database is, uh, the easiest way to see this is as a list of information, as a simple spreadsheet where you have the information on columns. So the difference from a spreadsheet in a really basic way is how organized the data is. And there's a plus, which is in this case, it's a relational database. So the relational part is this feature that we were talking about that are really special for relational database, which is connecting information. So I know that this ticket is from this client and so on. So this kind of data structure, sometimes if you're not used to this, seems complicated, but actually it's really easy as we are showing here, and it's really useful for your business, especially if you're growing, because then you know you have more information about your customer. You can help them more than just ticket by ticket.
Exactly. So for the last part, I'm going to talk about the ticket structure itself. So I have this table, and you can see that it has a title, which I renamed as subject. I have description, which is a text field. It's a rich text field, actually. So this is going to receive the body of the email of the original request. I have an email field, which is going to house the email of the customer. I have a files field. So if the customer sent a video, if they sent screenshots, it would automatically upload to this file field. I have a first response, which is also a text field, which is the field that the AI is going to populate with their draft email. I have a single option field for the category. So if it's customer support, if it's finance, if it's sales, and so on. I have a favorite field, which I renamed prioritize. So it's the field that I'm using to pin cards to the top of the Kanban board. I have a connection field here, so I'm going to edit this so you guys can see. It's a N-to-1 field, so it's connecting, it's pointing to a customer in the table customer database, right? Why is this a N-to-1 or a many-to-one connection? Because you can have many tickets to a specific customer, right? So the same customer can have 10 different tickets, they can send 10 different emails, so you use many to one. And the direction of the connection is the ticket points to a customer. So this is why this is in this database. I have a single option field for the stages of the Kanban board. So this field is creating the columns in the Kanban board. So we have new ticket, in progress, and done. And I have a multiple users field for the agents. So the person that is going to solve the ticket, maybe you want to assign them to different people in your team. Okay, so the two things that happen here are, first, the connection with the email. So I'm going to show you guys this first because it's the faster part of the setup. The other ones are also fast, but this one's a little bit simpler. So you can always connect a table to an email in Jestor. So you can create an email that when people send emails to that email address, it's going to create a card. So all I had to do is here on the table, click on here, table email, activate table email, and then I give it a name. It's always going to be some name that you give, like AI Sport dot your organization at Jestor.email. So whenever I respond to an email, it's going to be supporting. So this is also customizable. I can write anything I want here. And then I have to assign specific parts of the email to fields on the card, right? So the subject of the email is going to go to the subject field. The body of the email is going to go to the description field. Email attachments or images are going to go to this attachments field. And the email of the customer is going to go to this email field as well. I could have an auto reply here. So when the person sends the email, you could have something like, "Hi, we received your request," and some other message. So if you want an automatic reply, you can just set it up here. And as soon as the person sends the email, they're going to receive the reply. This is useful because sometimes clients, customers, they don't know if you received the ticket. So this gives them the guarantee that someone's going to look at it, that you received the information, right? And you can also set up if it's a ticket or plain email style. I don't know if you guys remember. Ticket is going to have a appearance of a ticket platform, right? It's going to have all the information always showing up, the previous messages, and so on. Plain email is just going to send this email as if it was an email. So use cases for that. For support ticket, you probably want the ticket conversation style. It's going to show that there's an agent talking to you and so on. But if you were using this Jestor as a CRM, for example, you'd probably want plain email because you don't want your emails to be formatted in a way that resembles a ticket. You want emails to look like normal emails, so you can just use plain email for that. So that's all you have to do. You can click on save, and this is going to activate the email part of Jestor for that specific table. Okay, so last part, the automations, and we have a few going on here. So the first one is going to be categorized with AI. So what this is doing is sorting the ticket into these categories, right? So when a new record is created, and you guys can see when a new record is created here in this table, I'm going to auto categorize record card in a single option field. So what I'm saying is in this table, I'm going to update the card that was created. I'm going to send information. So here I could write a few things because, for example, you could have like a category that's urgent and you want to specify to the AI what is urgent. So you could write instructions here, but the most important part is sending the information from the ticket. So for example, I send the description, which was the body of the email, right? And then I'm going to select the field which holds the categories so the AI knows which options it has, right? So in this case, the AI knows that it has customer support, finance, billing, and sales. So it's going to work within that. So this is a very simple to set up automation, and this is what's sorting the categories automatically. The second thing that's happening here is suggesting the first response. So we're using ChatGPT for that. When a record is created, it's going to generate the text. So I'm writing a prompt to ChatGPT here. So I'm saying write a friendly support email answering the email from the client. If it's support, try to troubleshoot. So it's already going to give some directions to the customer. If it's sales or finance, try to your best to make a good answer and say you pass the ticket to the relevant rep. Here's the email, and then I'm sending the variable description, which again holds the information from the email. There are some optional settings here which are very technical. Most of the time, most people are not going to use it. You can just leave it blank. And after that, I'm going to update the card itself in the field first response with whatever the AI has suggested, right? So this is another easy to set up automation. And the third automation, actually, there's two automations here, is that whenever the card is created, I'm going to move it to the new ticket stage. Because we're using email, this is necessary to send the ticket to the first stage of the Kanban board. If we were using super forms, this wouldn't be necessary. But basically, I'm just sending the card to the first column, to the first stage of the Kanban board. And then we're using this automation, connect a record based on a key, create if not found. This is basically searching the customer by email in the customer database. And if it doesn't find a customer with that email, it's going to create a new customer. So it automatically groups things later on. So table to search the record on, it's going to search in the customer database in the field email by the email with which the customer created the ticket by from the address that they sent the email, right? If it finds anything there, it's going to come back here to the support ticket, and it's going to link the customer that they found in the customer field. If it did not find anything, it's going to create a new customer with the email in the field email, and the name is going to also be the email. You guys seen this? So this is my email that I sent. The name of the customer is their own email. I can change that later on, but basically it's creating a new customer in the customer database if it didn't find it, and then it's going to link it, and you don't have to register them again. So those are the automations, and the combination of them is what happened at the start of the live stream, right? So I sent an email to our support email address. It created a card. It went to new ticket. It created a response. It auto categorized to finance, for example, and it found the customer that sent the email. I'm going to create a ticket without um, the using email. I'm going to create directly on the platform just so you guys can remember what happened. So for email, let's pretend that Andrew sent the email. It says I need a quote. So I want to hire your services. How do I get in touch? So let's save. So it's going to create the ticket. Let's pretend that Andrew sent this email, and you guys can see that it already ran all the automations, right? So it went to sales, it went to new ticket, it found Andrew because Andrew was already registered in the database, and it created a first response here. So basically everything that we set up ran just as we expected, and everything is working as intended. So everything is here, and you can use the dashboard to operate the customer support part itself. And you can see that Andrew has now 2 open tickets, for example. I can click on it, I can expand it, and this is everything that it sent. So I guess this is it. Banak, I don't know if you have anything to add to uh, this
No,
part.
that's a really complete solution in my opinion. You can use this for your ticketing. It would automate at least 4 or 5 different things here, and if you want, you can install this on your account. It's free, and you can improve this as well, or maybe adapt for your reality. However, I would use this in the way that it's already built. Is really useful as it is, and after you start using, you can just adapt or change things that you it's better for your company, for your process. And maybe if you want, you can also change a little bit to have an app page specific for your mobile phone, or maybe just change the organization of a few blocks for your mobile phone as well. However, this is really useful, and it will be available sooner on the template store. So if you guys want to check it out, now we just uploaded a few more templates there. So if you want to check this one or previous lives as well, they are there. And if you have any requests, just send to us and we will try to bring it here and build this for you as well. And next week we'll be back. So if you need anything else, just let us know and subscribe to the channel for always know when we have a new live, and send us questions if you have anything else to share. Bye. Thank you guys.